Welcome to the Circle City Cinema with your beloved host and the one and only Zach Griffith, a part of the Running Hook Podcast Network.
Hello, and welcome into Circle City Cinema. I'm your host, Zach Griffith, and I'm joined as always on the WandaVision episodes by the Running Hook CEO, Alex Burr.
Hello, everyone. Back again for another great episode of WandaVision and another draft, but we'll get to that later.
Another draft. But first, the news, some sad news. Christopher Plummer, one of the GOAT supporting actors, in my opinion, and I think probably in a lot of people's opinions, has died at the age of 91. He was in The Sound of Music, probably his most famous movie. He was in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Up, Knives Out, which was his last major movie. Just a big loss, but it makes me want to watch Knives Out again to appreciate it.
I think you're saying that because I told you before we started taping that I was going to watch Knives Out tonight. I'm not saying you're biting my style, but you're biting my style, Zach.
It is, and I've only seen it once, and I need to go back and watch it again. It's a good flick. That's all.
Believe it's on Hulu or Amazon Prime. One of the two.
Prime, I think. It's on Prime.
I think it's Prime.
Yeah, for free, I think.
Yeah.
Take advantage. Take advantage, folks.
It's a great movie, a great whodunit. Daniel Craig, surprisingly not distracting with the accent.
Did he do a good job with the accent, or was it just good enough? What do you think?
It was just good enough, right? Because if he took it, like, you listen to them, like, they even make jokes about it in the movie, like, this guy's accent, you know, they call him, like, Fog. I'm pretty sure they call him Foghorn Leghorn. They call him the Colonel.
That's bad. Foghorn Leghorn.
It's funny, like...
Pretty accurate now that I think about it.
The movie makes just enough fun of it, but it's not that ridiculous in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it is ridiculous. When you think about James Bond playing a southern investigator, it's ridiculous on its face. But the performance, I would say, it makes it believable.
It was a great performance, and Chris Evans also gave a great performance. His first post-MCU performance.
That was... Oh my gosh, that was incredible by Chris Evans. The twist was, it wasn't obvious, but you could kind of tell it was coming, but the way they delivered the twist, phenomenal from Rian Johnson. I would say.
Phenomenal cast. Great job by Rian Johnson. Phenomenal cast, phenomenal movie. Check it out on Prime. Some other news, the Snyder Cut gets the R rating. Alex, I called for this in my X-Men monologue. My wish is granted.
You know, I gotta be honest with you, Zach. This is the Snyder Cut's for the Justice League movie, right?
Yes.
Why that movie sucked? Why is there all this hype for the Snyder Cut?
It sucked because, and this is why I have hope for the Snyder Cut. He wasn't involved in the entire production. He left like halfway through for a few reasons. Joss Whedon took over. And the tone of the movie was just mixed up, to say the least. So this is all Zack Snyder's vision. Warner Brothers gave him $70 million more to finish it. I'm going to do a whole episode on Justice League and Snyder Cut before Snyder Cut comes out. But that's why I have hope for it.
You know, Zach, when Snyder Cut comes out, I'll come over to your house and we'll binge the Snyder Cut. We'll sit through all 4 hours.
We will.
And I'll do it with you. I'll sacrifice it because it'll be for the good of the team. And I'm excited to watch it. I want to see if it's actually good this time.
I think it will be, and I'll be the first to tell you, look. Okay. If this movie sucks, I will bury Zack Snyder on Circle City Cinema. I'll bury him myself.
I'm glad to hear it.
Because all the hype and trouble that has gone into making this happen... It better fucking rock. That's all I'm going to say. It better fucking rock, Alex. If it doesn't, I will bury him myself. I will bury him.
You know, they always did call you Captain Accountability, so I'm glad to hear it.
I'm holding him accountable. That's what I do. And some more Justice League news. The animated series is on HBO Max. I've been binging it myself. Alex, was this a series of your childhood?
It was, but I don't remember any of it. I really. There's this thing, Zach. When you hit yourself in the head, all your memories seem to go away. So
weird how that works.
It is, but listen, I love the animated shows, especially from Cartoon Network. This is gonna sound out there, but the Powerpuff Girls, I watched that a couple of years ago. It's legitimately funny show.
Yes,
like Cartoon Network really didn't miss from like when we were in elementary school at all.
No, they didn't.
So I'm excited. Like when I have opportunity, and now I have a lot more free time to watch shows, I am going to definitely go back and watch more of the Cartoon Network shows because they're all on HBO Max. All on HBO Max. I'm excited to watch Justice League.
Yeah, all of them are on there. Justice League's on there. DC has always kind of dominated the TV realm in terms of the comic book stuff. Marvel, they've had some good stuff, but they haven't been on DC's level. Justice League was really the last great DC series. And if you go on there, it'll say there's only 2 seasons, but don't be afraid. Just hop on over to Justice League Unlimited. It's basically the same show.
So, okay. Speaking of DC TV shows, this is like an adaptation from Damon Lindelof, but I do want to make a pop culture recommendation if you haven't seen it. Watch the Watchmen series on HBO if you haven't had a chance to. I have been texting Zach about it. I finished it this week. It does such an amazing job of pulling threads together. Like, you don't even meet some of the most major characters until almost the end of the series, but it's worth it. And the way that it holds you captive for the show, like it's such an amazing show. And I'm not giving away any spoilers, but it's such an amazing show, and it's really topical. And yet, even while it's really topical, because sometimes the topical shows just aren't entertaining.
Right.
This one, it's really entertaining while being incredibly topical. So go check out Watchmen if you haven't seen it. I can't recommend it enough. 10 out of 10. I kind of wish there was more, but at the same time, the 9 episodes are perfect. So it took me about a week to binge it. So
that's what I'm going to watch when I'm done with Game of Thrones. Justice League is nice because, all those cartoons are nice and that they're so easy to just plow through. Like you can realistically be done with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited in like a month.
Yeah, when I was early in college, I was working. I was still living at my mom's house, and one summer I was just bored. So I would come home and I would watch the Clone Wars. Yes. And I finished the Clone Wars in about a month. You could watch 3-4 episodes at a time.
Yeah, they're only, I think, an average of like 22 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's good content, so you can plow through them and get your money's worth. Wakanda show announced Ryan Coogler signs a 5-year deal with Disney to make Black Panther content. I'm all in, Alex. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's happening in the show, but I'm in.
Listen, Ryan Coogler plus Disney equals Black Panther. I'm happy with that equation.
Equals money. But
listen, Black Panther was great. And I went back and rewatched it for the first time in a little while, and I didn't realize how good it was. Right.
Awesome.
That movie was so well done. And the elephant in the room is always what's going to happen because obviously Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. And now there's concern who's going to be the Black Panther, but Coogler's direction, he seems to have a grasp on what the Black Panther franchise should be. And that's kind of what I like about Marvel is that they give the directors autonomy to go with their vision for each story. And I think that this will be good for Disney to have him helming the Black Panther ship because he made an incredibly good movie in 2018, and I want to see what he does. I would like to see the direction.
It seems like there's a director for each kind of installment in the MCU. Like Coogler drives the Black Panther car, Taika drives the Thor car, Russo's drive the Avengers. It's worked out so far, so I don't see why this would fail. Now I don't know James Gunn with the Guardians, yeah. So I don't. I thought Shuri is my pick for the next Black Panther. That just seems logical. Are they going to do it in the show, or are they going to save it for the second Black Panther? I don't know.
And I think that's a good question too. Is this show going to come out before the movie, for the sequel?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so either.
Because Black Panther 2 already has a release date set. And I think that's for next year, the year after. And the shows take a lot of time to make. So, and it doesn't even have a title yet. So we'll see. I'm excited. Maybe some Killmonger resurrection.
I think that's definitely a possibility. But you also have to accept the fact that he's a homicidal maniac. So,
well, there's a few of those. Loki was once a homicidal maniac. He came around.
I don't. Something tells me that Killmonger's not going to come around. But if they do resurrect him, I think there's always a chance.
The Thanos didn't come around, did he?
No, I mean Thanos. So, okay, there was always Thanos. Thanos had a point. No, he didn't. He just liked killing people, and he wanted to use half of humanity as an excuse. It was like, he just liked killing people.
I saw a tweet saying Thanos could have just used the gauntlet to double the resources in the universe instead of killing half the people.
Exactly. He could have just made 2 universes. He could have done so much stuff, and he's like, no, let's kill people.
Well, eventually in Endgame, he like basically admits to that. He's like, I'm going to take pleasure in reducing Earth to its last atom. So,
I mean, he did it with Xandar.
For the fun.
Why did he
Xandar? Shit.
Why did he kill half the people on Xandar if he cared so much about, resource preservation?
Look, John C. Reilly, Glenn Close, they had a great run in the MCU, but it's over now.
They couldn't afford him in the budget. They were already paying Robert Downey Jr. too much. We can't pay $1 million for a small John C. Reilly cameo and $1 million. I would imagine Glenn Close has to charge more than John C. Reilly would for a cameo.
Yeah.
So, God, I can't even imagine what she would charge. But hey, good for them for getting the bread from their one MCU appearance. I wish. Listen, more John C. Reilly. Has anyone ever complained about more John C. Reilly?
No. And anybody who does can shut their mouth.
That's right. Shake and bake, baby.
And then the last piece of news, which in my opinion is just dumb as hell. The Robin Hood movie has been announced based on all the stock market stuff that's been going on lately. I don't want to spend any time on this. This is dumb. This is just way too early. I'm not even sure there's enough there to make a movie out of it. Any thoughts, Alex?
No, they need to do more reporting. If this was like a Michael Lewis book, sure. But Michael Lewis hasn't written anything like a book about this. I mean, give more time for more details to come out and I can see it. But it's way too early in the process. Like, there's a good chance, like just speaking realistically, there's a good chance that there were hedge fund managers driving up the price to screw the other hedge funds. That's a really good possibility. So we don't know. Like, I need Michael Lewis explaining this shit.
It's ridiculous, and I hope it falls apart. I hope it doesn't happen. That's my hope.
Because that's Michael Lewis. Like, The Big Short explained it so perfectly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what a short was if I hadn't watched The Big Short.
Yeah. Yeah, The Big Short was a great movie. I just no thanks. Moving on to WandaVision, episode 5. Alex, I'll just ask you right off the bat, was this the best episode so far?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. It was so action-packed because the first 3 episodes were all sitcom format, right? And then, episode 3, Vision started to figure out something was off. Then episode 4, it kind of like rewound the clock and gave us the explainer of what the hell was going on. So this episode, now we know what the hell is going on, and we know the stakes on the outside, and yet the sitcom is still going on the inside. This was by far the most action-packed movie. Or not movie. But
it
by
totally
far the most
was.
action-packed episode. Like, because you had the stuff happening inside the sitcom, which is really important, and then you also had the stuff happening on the outside, which is also really important. There was just so much stuff going on in this episode. It was really impossible. Like, really, without your outline, I wouldn't have been able to keep track of it all. Like, truthfully, because it felt like so much happened in this episode, and the episode is so fast paced. Like, this episode should have been 45 minutes, probably, to fit all the information that it was holding.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was like real small complaint about the show because I love it. Why the hell are the credits 7 minutes long? Like,
it's misleading when you go to tap the episode to watch it and it says it's like this one was 41 minutes. It's actually like 35.
It's 34, Zach.
Right.
It's 34. And like, you feel like you're going to be giving a lot longer time commitment, right? Which is one of the things I like about HBO. You know, like I'm watching The Wire with my girlfriend, right?
It's an hour.
Yeah, it's an hour. And you know it's an hour.
Legit hour.
And the credits are included in that hour. And there's 58 minutes of episode and like 2 minutes of credits, right? Like even Watchmen's credits were long, but they were only like 3 minutes long. Right. There's no reason for your credits to be 7 minutes. Like,
so you're not complaining about it. You're just saying it seemed a little rushed.
Yeah, it feels rushed. Like it feels like this episode, like the episodes have needed more time to breathe. The first couple, whatever, because it makes sense because they're sitcom format, so it makes sense why they're shorter. But I think the first episode was probably like 17 minutes long, right?
It was not. Yeah, it was not too long.
So I feel like we need more space for it. Like I'm not saying make like an hour long drama, right? But like 40 minutes, you have literally no time constraints. You're on a streaming service. You don't need to have commercials in there.
Yeah.
Make it. And plus, there's not even a skip credits option on the
no,
episodes.
There isn't. And I think that, I don't know why that is. It could like, I don't remember, like, since it's a brand new series, maybe that's why. Because I'm trying to remember back to when The Mandalorian first premiered, if I couldn't skip the recap. But I don't remember.
I just wish the episodes were as long as they say they were in the streaming service, but I can't complain because the episodes are really good at the same time. I just feel like we need more room to breathe. You know what I mean?
Well, I think part of the reason you felt that way was because I kind of felt that way a little bit too. This was the first episode that really went in depth on both sides of the hex, both inside and outside of the hex. So this episode had a lot to do, and I think, obviously I can't predict what's going to happen in the next 4 episodes, but this one, we might look back and say this one did the most heavy lifting out of all of them.
Yeah, I would agree. But it's funny that the show still hasn't established a villain, and I'm curious to see if there even is going to be a villain, if the conflict is just Wanda. I think we have theories on that, but
Wanda versus herself.
Yeah, I think that could be a possibility at this point because it's weird for a show to be 5 episodes in. And I know this is season 1, but to not have a clearly defined villain, that seems kind of strange to me.
Right.
Like, especially for a superhero thing where the concept is, good versus, like, it's pretty black and white most times. And I'm not complaining because I like gray. So the best shows are, like, the characters are painted gray. But I wish this was, I kind of wish it was more black and white, but I can't complain because I love the show.
Well, we're doing things a little different today, folks. We usually run through all the scenes and then go in depth on them, but there's just a scene in this one too big to save for last, so we're going to talk about it first. The Quicksilver cameo, Alex. Literally, the last person I expected to see when Scarlet Witch opened the door. Who did you think it was?
So based on the haircut, I thought it might have been Captain Marvel, right? Because that's the haircut she had in Endgame. So I was thinking maybe, but then I was like, no, it's too shaggy.
She was mentioned in the episode too.
Yes, that's the other reason why. Like, and plus she's had Captain Marvel's been mentioned a lot in this series, and again, like Jim Gordon said, I'm trained not to believe in coincidences.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying she's going to show up, but Pietro is truly surprising, especially this version of him, because we've seen
version.
The X-Men set up the context for who this guy is. But I wasn't expecting this at all.
No, when Darcy says she recasts Pietro, I thought that was an interesting choice of words because this is Quicksilver existed both in the MCU and in the separate X-Men universe, but now we're getting the actor who played Quicksilver in the MCU from a different universe. It's hard to wrap your head around. But as for who I thought it was, the second time around, it was easier to tell because first time around, I didn't notice the haircut. It was white, and then it went to like black in the back, his hair. And this time, I noticed that. But the first time, I thought it might have been old Cap. Thought it might have been Magneto. Or I thought it would have been the other Quicksilver, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson in the MCU. This was literally the last fucking guy I expected to see. Evan Peters Quicksilver.
So, okay, if you thought it was going to be Magneto, you would have thought it was going to be Michael Fassbender, right? Like, not obviously not Ian McKellen, but
the gray hair. I thought it was going to be Ian McKellen.
I don't think Sir Ian McKellen. Is it Sir Ian McKellen? I know it's Sir Patrick Stewart.
Sir Ian McKellen.
Sir Ian McKellen. I gotta update the X-Men pod. Whoops. I think that again, we're just talking about, in the first episode when we were talking about Michael Douglas, I think this might be a little too small for Sir Ian McKellen. But I didn't know who to expect per se, and I didn't know who I thought it was. I just was like, who the hell is this? But again, MCU Pietro is dead.
Gone.
Now we have a whole host of other questions. Multiverse, did Wanda create mutants? We have so many other questions and that we don't have the answers to now. And the next 4 episodes are going to be huge for I think this. So now it's becoming more and more apparent to me why they're having WandaVision first, right? Because, you could have gone with the other shows before this. This to me is going to set the direction of the MCU for the next 10 years. I think this is going to set the direction. Like, we're going to have another possible, cameo that you're going to talk about later in the episode, but another person you think could be introduced, I'll say. But I think that because the X-Men is the future of the MCU. The fact that they did it without the X-Men for so long is a testament in and of itself.
Yeah.
So now that if they can integrate them, it's going to be huge.
They did it without the X-Men or the Fantastic Four, which is just kind of mind-boggling when you think about it. But let's get into the implications of X-Men Quicksilver showing up. You talked about the multiverse, which I think is probably the most likely possibility of how this is possible. Is this how they bring in the X-Men? Just say they were in a different parallel dimension and that now they're here now?
Well, and it would make sense too, because maybe what Wanda's doing is opening up the multiverse. I can't say, but we know, like, one of the things that we know for sure is that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to heavily feature Wanda Maximoff.
Oh yeah.
We don't know how we're going to get there though.
No.
And this could maybe answer that question. So I don't know. Multiverse seems plausible. What seems more plausible to me, though, is that Agnes, as we've been talking about for the previous weeks, maybe incarnated Pietro. She's definitely Agatha Harkness at this.
She is. We have a couple theories that have been basically proven correct. But yeah,
we'll talk about Agnes more as we get later on in the episode, but I think it's in the realm of possibility that she incarnated Pietro in this form, because
Wanda claims she didn't do it.
I believe Wanda.
Me too.
I'll say,
which is odd because what Vision said. I don't think I can trust you right now, but I believe her.
I don't think Wanda's the bad guy. I will say, I think we'll talk about Wanda's behavior more, I think, later on, but I think she's more. Actually, I'll save that topic for later. But I just think Pietro showing up, this throws a whole monkey wrench into this show that none of us saw coming.
No, it's the biggest monkey wrench I've ever seen. It really is. Her claiming she didn't do it throws another thing into it, because somebody else is definitely operating in the hex here. Probably Agatha Harkness, like you said. I'm still holding out hope Stephen Strange will show up to either undo it. I don't know why he would bring X-Men Quicksilver into the equation, but I still think he's going to show up somehow. But before this happened, Alex. Oh, wait. I want one more thing about the X-Men. I did some research to make sure that there weren't any overlapping castings between the X-Men universe and the MCU. There isn't. So they could just say that was all happening in a different multiverse and bring them in with no problems.
So, again, I talked about this in the first episode, but one of the flaws, right, of the first set of movies was that they announced contracts and when they were going to be up and when they were going to, like, people knew that Chadwick and Tom Holland were going to be coming back because they still had longer contracts.
Right.
And that was, I think, one of the flaws coming into Infinity War.
And they had announced Spider-Man 2 and Black Panther 2, so yeah.
They've clearly learned from this mistake because they nary a peep from them about
shout out to the entire cast and crew of this show for keeping this quiet. This is a massive thing to keep quiet.
Nothing about Evan Peters in this whole casting thing, right? You couldn't look it up on Google. Like, I'm gonna look up the WandaVision cast right now to see if they added him.
They did. They did add him.
Like, there's still a possibility that someone else can come in and.
Oh yeah.
Like, the possibilities are endless at this point now, and I think so. I'll ask the question and answer it. So you were gonna ask me, should Olsen have said anything about the cameo?
Right.
And I think the answer to that question is yes, because you can say that and then you have speculation and your mind is still blown, right? When it doesn't match who you're thinking about. I think that, like, nobody expected Evan Peters. Nobody expected Pietro. Pietro is fucking dead.
Nobody.
Fucking
like
dead.
I said, last person I thought. Specifically Evan Peters Quicksilver. Last person I expected to see.
Exactly. You would have thought they would have resurrected, the guy from Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And I think, again, remarkable restraint by the cast of WandaVision.
Unbelievable.
Keep their damn mouths shut.
Unbelievable. Yeah, should Olsen have said anything about the cameo? If you remember earlier in the week, she said in an interview that there would be a Luke Skywalker Mandalorian-esque cameo in WandaVision. And
now I know that Luke Skywalker is in Mandalorian. Thanks, Elizabeth.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault, but it's her fault. But Elizabeth Olsen, I'm coming for you. No.
But should she have said anything? Part of me says no, she shouldn't have, because people probably found themselves looking or expecting the cameo in this. That was the great thing about the Luke Skywalker cameo. Nobody expected it.
Now I'm expecting it, but continue.
Yes, you're expecting it now. Damn it, Elizabeth. And the other part of me is like, yes, because people start devising ideas of who it's going to be, and I guarantee nobody said, X-Men Quicksilver is going to show up. Nobody said that. So
exactly.
It's kind of either way. I go either way with that. Should she have said anything? I don't care. Getting into the key plot points, Alex. I'm going to run through these and then we'll go in depth. Agnes shows up at Wanda's house to help with the kids. And we get that scene. We've had a few of these where it just cuts and it says, this is the first one where one of the characters on the show has acknowledged that it's a sitcom. And Agnes says, should we take it from the top? She breaks character. Vision knows something's going on. The twins grow up right before everyone's eyes. Agnes acts oblivious and just says, kids these days, what are you going to do? Monica wakes up after being returned to reality by Wanda. Hayward it takes another L this week. Alex, I know you think he's in Hydra, but I'm giving him a fat L. Continues his incompetent streak. Wanda revealed to have stolen Vision's corpse, so we get an answer there.
Wait. Before you continue, I feel like this needs to be added on. 9 days ago.
Yes, we get a time frame, yeah. She stole the corpse 9 days ago. So the hex she has created hasn't even been going on for 2 weeks.
And just another reminder, she had been alive for about 12 days at that point. Or she had been brought back from the snap for about 12 days from that point.
What a series of events. Dead for 5 years, returned back to life, goes to Tony's funeral, and then just gets right back to work.
Hey, it's efficient.
Doesn't waste any time. Well, yeah, that's a good point. The 9 days thing was good in terms of a time frame. And we get the answer, how did Vision come back? She just stole the body. That's how. Tommy and Billy, the kids, find a dog. They name it Sparky. Agnes shows up with a doghouse minutes after the dog is discovered by Wanda. Wanda conjures a collar in front of her, causing Vision to say, "Whoa, what the hell? I thought we had an agreement here. We're not to do this in front of people." Tommy and Billy then spontaneously grow up to 10 years old, right in front of Agnes. Monica discovers Wanda can change things as they enter the Hex. She discovers that her pants were changed to Kevlar. Vision receives an email from Darcy inside the Hex. Norm, Vision's coworker, is snapped back to reality by Vision, and he pleads for Vision's help, asks to have him make Wanda stop the mind control. Tommy and Billy ask where Vision is, and they ask about Wanda's brother, which brings about some emotions from Wanda. Wanda then confronts Sword. She exits the Hex to confront Sword. We get some big-time parallels to Magneto versus the cops in the first X-Men movie. Hayward, some more incompetence. And Wanda's accent is back. We'll get it. I can't wait to dive into that as to why that is, Alex. It's interesting. Sparky the dog dies. Agatha claims he ate her leaves on one of her bushes. The boys ask Wanda to fix it since they know she can bring people back to life. How they know that, we don't know. Maybe they know Vision is dead or something. And then Wanda and Vision almost throw down in the house when Vision confronts Wanda. Wanda ends the sitcom episode, but Vision doesn't care. Vision can't remember life before Westview, and then Quicksilver arrives, as we talked about at the top. So let's just dive in here. Alex, I'll give you the first one. I'm going to let you take all the Agnes stuff, because you called the Agatha Harkness in episode 1. So just take this one.
So, okay. I mean, the showing up to help with the kids, again, Catherine Hahn is just so funny. Like, it really helps for the sitcom elements to have, like, someone as funny as she is.
You called for more Hahn last week, and you got it.
I got it in droves this week. But the thing was, Zach, she didn't just show off her comedic chops this week. She showed off her serious chops, too. I thought this was a really well-rounded episode from Catherine Hahn. And again, going back to my Elizabeth Olsen case for Best Actress Emmy, if she doesn't win, I'm going to riot. Plain and simple.
She should be nominated.
She should win. Like, just the way she's contorting her face alone, like face acting alone, she should be nominated.
Yes.
The rest of what she's doing, she's phenomenal. But so Agnes shows up to help with the kids. She's like, someone told me that your kids were having trouble sleeping. I'm butchering the line, but she's like, "Who told you?" And Vision's like, "Who told you that?" She's like, "Oh, I heard it from the street." And she goes on an absolute tear comedically in this part here. Well, Vision is still questioning what's going on, right? But she's like, Vision's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm going through your cabinet looking for dark liquor. It's not for me. It's for the kids. What kind of babysitter do you think I am?"
The way she just waves off the kids growing up like 5 years right in front of her. She's like,
that's what makes me think she's the witch, because it makes a lot of sense why they like. It doesn't make, like, just logistically speaking, it doesn't make sense to cast someone like Catherine Hahn as a side character. She is a very big actress at this point,
right?
And B, you need to make use of her talents. What was B? But B, she's okay. I just remembered B. Sorry. B is that she is just flat out ignoring, like, the kids growing up 5 years in front of her eyes. Wanda snapping the thing into existence. She clearly notices it, but she doesn't care because she's Agatha.
I think we'll get into it later, but we can pretty much lock that in. That Agnes is Agatha Harkness,
and plus Agnes and Agatha. That's not a coincidence. Shout out to Jim Gordon.
Yeah, shout out to Jim Gordon. And just a reminder, Agatha Harkness is she was Wanda's Hex teacher in the comics. So maybe Wanda learned how to do this from Agnes. We'll see. I thought the should we take it from the top thing was kind of creepy as well. Mm-hmm. And Vision's reaction was pretty genuine, I thought.
Oh, Vision, Paul Bettany too. Like all three of them should be nominated, right? For obviously Catherine Hahn for supporting.
Great Paul Bettany episode.
Like he's clearly incensed, right? Because he kind of knows something is going on, but he can't quite put his finger on it. And when that happens, you get pissed off.
Right.
And Benny's doing a great job of conveying that emotion. But that is very creepy. Like we keep seeing those like little cuts, right? And Wanda, what Elizabeth Olsen is doing so well to me is she is like feigning confusion when that happens. And you could tell like she's just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm fucked, if they find out my secret.
And it's just with Agatha. She only feigns Agnes.
Exactly.
It's just with her because besides with Monica, it's just she just lets it slide with Agnes, and it makes me think Agnes is it's Agatha.
Again, shout out to Jim Gordon. I'm not allowed to believe in coincidences anymore.
No, you're not. You're not. Hey, talk about great acting. I thought we'll skip it ahead a little bit, but Norm, what a heat check by Norm. when he gets flashed back to Wanda's reality from his own by Vision. Talk about facial expressions, Alex. He had to do it on the fly right there.
Yeah, that was
awesome by Norm. The actor.
I think I had the WandaVision cast pulled up. Let's see. What's the guy's name? Because I want to shout him out. I think it's Asif Ali. Shout out to you, man, because you did great job in this episode.
What a job!
Like,
and then the other great acting was Vision at the end yelling.
Oh yeah, just ignoring the credits and like. I thought that was just incredible. Just like really the whole episode. Again, this whole series is just fucking phenomenal in terms of acting and the choices to bring back, Kat Dennings and Randall Park.
Yep.
Just every like Tiana Paris is like, again, it can't be stressed enough how well of a job that they've done. You can't just focus on like the script and like, oh, it's Marvel. They've been doing a good job of doing everything fucking else too.
The way they have been able to make everything look, I mean, not everything's been flawless. There's been some speed bumps in the MCU, especially I think phase 2 is probably the worst phase, and there were some speed bumps there, but the way they've made everything look overall flawless is just something to admire, especially in WandaVision, because this is a convoluted plot, to say the least. And they're making it look flawless. Monica wakes up after being returned to reality. Defend Hayward here. He takes shots at Jimmy Woo for no reason.
I just think he's a dick. I don't think I don't know if he's incompetent yet. I'm telling you, I don't have enough of a body of work. I'm waiting till the end of the series.
I'm getting Dolan vibes from Hayward.
That is strong. That's strong.
That's what I'm getting.
Why would you insult the man like that?
What has he shown you, Alex?
He hasn't shown me anything, but he showed me that.
There you go.
This is the problem. Like, I can't. Again, Hydra. I'm thinking the man might be.
I know.
I'm not ruling that out of the possibility yet. And again,
I'm not either.
Hydra infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. What makes you think they wouldn't infiltrate S.W.O.R.D.?
They definitely could. I mean, S.W.O.R.D., especially if they're run by this guy, it should be very easy. But I just thought this is a really bad episode for him.
He's just an asshole.
He is, and Darcy even says it. She says he's a dick, and she's right.
I thought that jump cut was funny though.
Yeah, that was all. The Disney made him do that for sure. Disney made them do that
because they have to keep it on the program. They have to keep it on Disney Plus, but they get so. I love the way that they keep getting so dangerously close to saying fuck.
One day. I don't know what movie it'll be in, but one day. Probably
if
a
Samuel L.
Guardians
Jackson didn't say it in Infinity War, no one can ever say it.
Right. Right.
If there's
he
one
says
fuck,
it's got to be him, right?
If there's one fuck in this whole series, it's got to be from the man who ate the Big Kahuna Burger in Pulp Fiction. There's who else is qualified to say it as him? No one.
Love me a Big Kahuna Burger.
Look at the big brain on Brett.
Love it. And then one of the big answers that we get in this episode, Wanda stole Vision's corpse from Sword headquarters. I'm glad we got this answer, Alex.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was about damn time. Like, we needed to find out. We should have really gotten it last episode.
Yeah, we didn't know if she just conjured him up out of nothing or what she did.
I also did like how they explained that this is like a violation of Vision's will, which I thought was funny that Vision even had a will to begin with.
Yeah, dude's not even a person. He's got a will.
Like, what does he have to give away to people? You know, like when I think of a walking synthezoid, as they call them in the episode, I'm not thinking that he's gonna give like Wayne Manor to the orphanage. Like I don't think he has that kind of dough.
No, he definitely doesn't, unless he's in some kind of Ponzi scheme at Stark Industries. I don't know. I don't know what kind of pull he has at Stark. I don't know.
Maybe he sold his body to somebody, and that's how he then proceeded to donate all that money to science, and then they used them as a super weapon.
So what kind of precedent does this set? Did Ultron write a will in the 2 days he was alive?
Was he only alive for 2 days?
Seemed like it.
I want to watch Age of Ultron again, but at the same time, I kind of don't.
It is one of the messiest Marvel movies in terms of everything that's going on, but I like it. The villain, really great villain. Really great.
We're going to get Ultron back.
These two.
Yeah.
I hope so.
We're going to get Ultron. Well, he's going to be a voice in the series. I don't know if his voice was already in it, but
I hope so. Great voice. James Spader. Great job. Great job with Ultron.
Shout out Blacklist. I didn't watch you for very long, but when I did, it was a very entertaining show.
Shout out Blacklist on Circle City Cinema. How about that? Tommy and Billy adopt Sparky the dog, whose lifespan, unfortunately, is not very long. Agnes shows up with the doghouse almost on cue. Go ahead, riff on Agnes here.
Again, she's Agatha, because how the hell else does she know that they have a dog? And I'm just going to say it. I think she killed the dog. I'm going to say it right now. I think she killed that dog. I think she had poor intentions with that dog. I don't think, she's a witch. She probably wanted.
She saw through the window. That was her excuse. Oh, I saw it through the window. What? What window?
That to me seemed like a sitcom trope, though. Like, oh, partner, I was just spying on you through the window there, and I just happened to see I got a new pooch there.
What? What? And then Wanda conjuring the collar in front of her. I think this is probably the most convincing case for your Agatha theory being real, because Wanda's just like, it's fine, honey. It's fine. She's okay.
She's really lacking discipline here. If she was in the mob, she'd have been whacked by now, because
she would have.
She's like, she's dealing drugs right in front of cops. She's saying names on telephones. She's doing that kind of stuff.
And then Tommy and Billy growing up to 10 years old in front of her.
Them saying, no, don't grow up. Don't grow up.
That was funny. That was a funny part. Vision called them whippersnappers. That's a sitcom trope right there.
Yeah. But by the way, real quick, I wanted to get this in. I feel like now's the best time to ask this. Do you think that Elizabeth Olsen had it specifically written in the contract for the show that they can't do Full House because of the family connection?
We'll see when we get to 90s. We'll see.
Because I think that's very much in the realm of possibility there.
We'll see when we get to the 90s. It depends. Will John Stamos show up? We don't know. He hasn't shown up in the MCU yet. He could.
I mean, it would. I'm just saying.
John Stamos as Mephisto?
I'm saying, Zach, it would be very funny if we got a Mary Kate and Ashley cameo as Michelle before they appeared in the fucking new Fuller House show. That would be funny.
It would be funny. And but John Stamos, he could show up. He could, maybe Bob Saget.
If Star-Lord was born in the 80s, it would have been John Stamos over David Hasselhoff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah. It would.
Do you think David Hasselhoff got paid for that?
Yeah, I think so. He showed up at one point in Guardians 2.
That's what I'm saying.
And the David Hasselhoff. He definitely got paid. Totally.
I hope so. That movie, you want to talk about guys getting checks? That movie has Sylvester Stallone.
Just Ving Rhames for 2 seconds.
Ving Rhames?
Cashing checks. That's all they're doing.
You gotta love it.
Sylvester Stallone was even billed. He was even billed on the poster.
You betrayed the Ravager code, Yondu.
That was the biggest check cashing maybe of his career.
How'd you like my Stallone there?
That was pretty good. You need to smush your face more to make it look like you got the shit beat out of you, but yeah, that was pretty good. Or I'm sorry, not shit beat out of you, plastic surgery. My bad. Let's see, where are we at here? Monica discovers that Wanda changes things as they enter the Hex. And they break this by Vision receiving an email from Darcy about what is called, what is it? The Maximoff.
The Maximoff something. I can't remember what it's called.
Anomaly. Maximoff anomaly.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. This it was a clever way to do it. Send an email. And
right.
Let's just talk about Norm. All right.
Poor Norm.
Take it on Norm.
I mean, he check acting performance. You know, if this was the rewatchables, we'd be giving him the Dion Waiters award.
Great acting. Yeah, we would.
Great acting, but like thinking about the characters for a second, imagine how horrifying that is. To like have someone snap you out of that for a second, and then you go back to what you were a second after.
Right.
Like I don't remember Norm's name off of, because they gave them all names, right? Like, or not gave them all names, but you know what I'm talking about, where they pulled who they were, their identities off of the last episode. The fact, like, that's so horrifying. Like, oh my God, my sister is taking care of my dad. Like, I need to find out what's wrong with him. That was scary. And like Vision, this is when Vision is figuring out what's going wrong, because now Wanda can't erase that from his memory.
Vision knows shit's up.
Yeah. Well, he suspected it, right? Like we were seeing that obviously the first 2 episodes, whatever. But we saw it in episode 3. And then she, snapped and like it edited it out.
Right.
That's what I'm most curious to see. Is she the one editing this out? Like, is she the one doing the TV show? Like,
that is where things get complicated for me. I'm not sure. She definitely has a hand in it, I think. I don't know if she's the quote unquote puppet master, but she definitely has control of everyone's minds. Yeah. And even Norm knows it. Norm pleads with Vision, like, hey, get her to stop. It hurts. He doesn't even know how long it's been. That was I think that was his first question. How long has it been?
Yeah.
So
and
they have no sense of time under her control.
Going back to the beginning of the episode, Monica was describing what it was like, and I'm pretty sure she said it felt like she was like violated.
Yeah.
Like Wanda just encapsulated her thoughts, It doesn't sound like a pleasant experience. And, the Norm that we get to know in Westview is, he's a very cheery guy, plays for laughs guys in the sitcom role, but he's an actual person. And Wanda's just, Wanda needs to live this fantasy. And the fantasy is going to be interrupted one way or another. She's not going to be able to keep this up, especially now that Vision knows the jig is up. So that's my, again, one of my main questions for next week is what the hell happens between Wanda and Vision, especially now that Pietro's back. But what did you think about the Norm scene in particular? In particular, the part where Vision snaps him out of it.
I thought it was a good showcase of Vision's powers. That way, we really haven't gotten that. We haven't really gotten him using his powers other than him changing back and forth between human Vision and real Vision, and flying, of course. So I thought that was a good aspect of it. I thought it was the best acting sequence of the show, of this episode.
Which is saying something.
Yeah, it is. And I thought, in my opinion, probably other than obviously Quicksilver arriving, probably my favorite scene. Because Vision knows something's up. And it makes me think whoever sent Quicksilver in, because we both agree it wasn't Wanda, wanted to divert Vision's attention from that. That's why he sent the brother in. I don't know. I still don't know who it was, but we have theories.
There's just so many different directions this could go, and I literally can't wait. We record these on Saturdays. They come out on Mondays. I cannot wait for next Friday.
This was, other than probably the first episode of WandaVision, this was the first one where I went into it literally not knowing what to expect. And it's kind of the same thing for next week, episode 6.
The end was such a twist. That we can't know. But let's continue on with the plot.
Yeah, Wanda confronts Sword. Wow.
That was
wow. Is this? Let me ask you one question first. Going back to the Norm thing, what is the bigger flex of Wanda's power? Bringing Thanos to his knees or mind controlling an entire town?
It's got to be mind controlling an entire town because that's 10,000 people that are living there.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we learned in the last episode is maybe not 10,000, but even a small town of mind controlling 2,000 people. That's a lot of fucking people.
It takes a lot of power. That's fucking ridiculous. But anyway, Wanda confronts Sword. You had some thoughts about this. I think you were texting me about it.
It was just an incredible showcase of Wanda. So I watched X-Men for the first time in a while, right? Because you did the monologue on it.
Yeah, baby.
But the Magneto versus Cop scene is a very apt comparison by you, I have to say, because it is exactly that. Now, obviously, she doesn't pull the trigger the way that Magneto did. But just so for those that don't know what we're talking about, she comes out of the hex, right? I think we could just start calling it the hex now.
Yeah.
She comes out of the hex and she confronts them because, again, Hayward wanted to missile her. So
confident.
Monica steps in and she's like, I helped deliver your babies. Why do you think I'm not on your side? After Wanda recognizes her and threatens to.
That's a good point by Monica, honestly.
That's a pretty good trump card. I talked about in the first episode, I don't know who you are is such a mean thing to say. I helped deliver your babies. That's a good thing to get you out of any negative situation. I slept with your husband. Yeah, but I helped deliver your babies. So, it's like a get out of jail free card. But
it is.
I thought this was an excellent, because she was still mind controlling them while she was outside of it. And she helped. And she got all the guns to point their guns at Hayward, which, you would have liked them to pull the trigger. But
yeah, I would have. Totally would have. Wouldn't have felt anything if he died.
I thought it was just a phenomenal scene because Wanda versus Monica, I think that's going to be probably the rest of the show. Yeah. If they don't introduce any major mystical elements. But it was a very compelling scene, and you're on the edge of your seat. That was probably my favorite scene, even including the Quicksilver reveal. Actually, no, the the last scene was my favorite, but it's close. It's close for me because they were so tense. And let's face it, the best scenes are fraught with tension. Like,
yes,
tension makes a great.
Think to The Dark Knight, the interrogation room scene.
Of course. Or one of the best scenes in The Dark Knight is the end when, you know, Harvey Dent is gonna shoot Gordon's boy. He was about to kill my boy.
Don't punish the boy.
Foreshadowing.
Punish me. I'm about to.
I was trying to fight the mob.
But anyway, continue.
No, I just thought the scene was so fraught with tension that it worked so well because Wanda, again, the thing that's worked really well about the show so far is that it kind of paints Wanda as the villain.
It totally does.
And in this episode, Monica's the hero. Like, let's face it, in the first, the last 4 episodes, because she wasn't in the first one, Monica's been the hero.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting dichotomy where you have to look at Wanda as a villain, even though you know her as a hero, because she's holding so many people against their will because
she's been a villain before.
Right.
That's the weird dynamic of it, you know?
But the last 5 years, since Civil War, basically.
She's been decisively a hero.
Right. Exactly. Like, yes, Age of Ultron, she jumped sides like she was Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Ayo,
Totally did. She totally did.
That was right out of the Benny Youngman playbook right there.
Hope you're listening, Bryce. Hope you're listening.
But I don't know. I think that's the beauty of it. Like, we know in our heart of hearts that Wanda can't be the villain, but for right now she is. And I want to see where the show takes it.
Well, oddly enough, the biggest question I had was the accent. Wanda's accent is back.
I was hoping she left it in Age of Ultron. That's right
back.
up there.
It's not totally back, but it's back.
Her accent is right up there with Forrest Whitaker's. Let's be real.
Oh, come on.
I like. Listen,
You didn't have to say it. You didn't have to say it. That's all.
But we were all thinking it.
Yeah, we were. I got to be honest. They didn't even explain. That was kind of a running meme the past few years. They didn't even explain what happened to her accent. It was just gone one movie, and now it's back. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I don't know why it's back or how.
It's like in Game of Thrones with Littlefinger. Like, I'm sure I told you about it, but you noticed it. Shansha.
Shansha.
Going to see it, taking you to see Aunt Lysa in the Vale. As opposed, like,
quiet woman. Robert Baratheon.
Hit him with the hammer. They don't tell you how they shit themselves.
I could talk like him all day. But what do you think? How's the accent back? Why?
So, okay, here's a theory for you. Again, this is just off the top of my head. But she clearly is getting the inspiration for these sitcoms from somewhere, right? And I don't know if you noticed this, but during the opening credits, like the credit sequence, like the sitcom credit sequence, they showed a picture of a teenage Wanda. Did you notice what was behind the picture of teenage Wanda?
No.
It was Sokovia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So maybe, oh God, that's not what I want to look up. Teenage Wanda. Oh God. This is going to go very bad.
Also, I want to say the baby pictures of Vision, golden.
Those were great pictures. But they were showing teenage Wanda, and it was, and behind her was a war-torn country. So maybe she's basing these sitcoms off of what she'd seen on TV and like what she'd picture family life to be like, right? And like that's why, this episode I think they based it off of Family Matters. Last episode I think was Brady Bunch.
Yeah,
I know the first
it was Brady Bunch.
I think the
I
first
Love
episode, Lucy
was in there.
I think Dick Van Dyke was in there.
Yep, that was the other one.
So she's basing all her, prior experiences on sitcoms that she'd seen. And so maybe in going back to try to revisit her childhood, she found her accent again. It's kind of cockamamie, I'll admit, but I think that could be a plausible explanation at the very least.
It could. And I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that they brought it back. Moving on, Sparky the dog dies the same day he's adopted. Tough beat. It's a really tough beat for Sparky.
You had like a 12-hour lifespan.
It was not great. Not great. Agatha claims she found him in the bushes. She doesn't know how many leaves he ate. The boys ask Wanda to fix it, and the Vision shows up. Another Agnes scene. Alex, I'll let you riff.
Listen, this was the great like dramatic scene because the boys are like, come on, mommy, you can bring people back from the dead. And Agnes is like, you can do that? But she kind of just like, Wanda just ignored her.
Yeah.
And like, I think Agnes wasn't asking, again, because we think she's Agatha. She wasn't asking that sincerely. Or maybe she was.
I think she was. I think she didn't know as Agatha. I don't think she knew Wanda's powers went to that level. She was like, what, you can do that shit?
Like,
I can't even do that.
I don't know. I think that she's definitely making the shit up about the dog eating the leaves. Again, that could have just been her lunch. We don't know.
Totally
we know witches are evil. Totally they like to eat. They like to eat dogs. You know.
Yep.
But in all seriousness,
keep cats around though for some reason.
Hey, you know, I keep cats around too. You got a problem? You got a problem with me, pal? Huh?
Oh, no, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem.
You think they're snakes with fur?
Yeah,
Shout out to Polly. I don't know. I think that this is a scene that could bear further examination going down the line, but this is the precursor to the fight between in the next scene.
Yeah, they almost fight. They almost like obliterate the house and probably the whole town. Wanda and Vision almost throw down because Vision has had enough of Wanda's games, enough of her shit, quite frankly. Wants her to come clean about what's going on in Westview. He can't remember his life before Westview, so
that's because he didn't have a life before Westview, Zach.
I can't remember sophomore year. It's all a blur. But I thought that was interesting because does he not remember Thanos ripping the stone out of his head?
No,
it feels like something you would remember.
I mean, if you were resurrected against your will, I doubt it. You know, I don't know. That's a good question. I think
he can't remember his life before Westview. Like he can't remember Ultron. He can't remember Civil War. Any of that.
I wouldn't think so. I mean,
just
they've been establishing the seeds of his like not knowing anything though for the last 5 episodes.
Yeah,
like he didn't remember that he put the heart on there for the hearts. You know, like obviously he got drunk in the 2nd episode. 3rd episode is when he started to kind of piece things together. But you know, Wanda was making it so he would conveniently forget what was going on. And then, like this episode, she can't just ignore it anymore. And this is going to be the tension, I think, in the next episode.
She can't ignore him anymore.
Right. She can't brush it under the rug.
Right.
The problems are going to come to the fore. And how is Wanda going to deal with that is the question. And we can't answer that right now, but I think there's a good possibility that shit's going to get fucked up. You know?
Shit's going to go down, and whether or not Quicksilver has something to do with it. I kind of think he was thrown in there as a diversion. So somebody's trying to help Wanda out and get Vision off her case. But that's my take. Vision, I have one theory on Vision not being able to remember his life. This could be their version of in the books, Vision dies one time, he dies and he comes back like with no emotions. So this could be their version of that, except he comes back with no memories. Could be. I don't know, but that's my theory. Moving on to answered questions, Alex. Agatha Harkness. Yeah. Lock it in.
Lock it in, baby.
House of M storyline locked in, but it's not technically House of M. We saw a theory on Twitter. It's reverse House of M, where instead of Wanda taking the mutant powers away from everybody, she makes mutants herself. So that might be what's going on here.
Shout out Jason Concepcion because he's where we saw that, and let's face it, he's one of the best. So shout out to him.
Big shout out to Concepcion. And the Hex, directly referenced by Darcy, could be Mephisto. Maybe. We talked about him at length last episode. Maybe he's coming. Do we have any other answered questions? Did you have any?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. I think this episode, because the last episode primarily served for answering our initial questions while obviously leading to more. And obviously, it led to a lot more unanswered questions, but I think you got to the two biggest ones. So do you want me to ask you the unanswered questions?
Yeah.
And that way we can get your theories. Okay, so obviously the biggest one is, and by far the biggest one is, how did X-Men Quicksilver get into Westview? How do you think he got into Westview?
Well, like we talked about earlier, I believe Wanda when she says she didn't bring him there. Because that's not the version of Quicksilver she would have brought there. It's not. So my theory is Magneto. Magneto brought him there. That's my theory. To reunite the kids. That's my theory.
And that would throw, I guess that brings even more questions, but.
Or Doctor Strange. Could always be Doctor Strange.
By hook or by crook, you're going to get Doctor Strange into this series. It's incredible. But
Steven is on the sidelines, biding his time, waiting to come in the game at the right moment.
Listen, buddy, you just keep telling yourself that, okay? You know, maybe he'll show up in the series at some point.
He will.
All right. And then I know what you're going to say, but who is the aerospace engineer referenced by Monica? Now explain to the listeners, because they might have missed this, like I missed it, where this is referenced, and explain to them who you believe it is.
It's referenced, I believe, when they are examining Monica's pants to see how Wanda changed them when she entered the Hex. And she says she has an aerospace engineer who might be up for the task. Folks, it's Reed Richards. Mr. Fantastic himself. That's my take.
Okay, so that leads me to a big picture Marvel question. Do you believe that they would introduce the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in this series?
Hey. No. I don't think Reed Richards will show up. This is the second aerospace / astronaut reference we've gotten in this show. I just think that's who she's referencing. Do you remember in Winter Soldier they referenced Stephen Strange, but he didn't show up? That's what I think's going on here.
All right, and then the last unanswered question is the commercial, because as we know, the commercials are rife with theories. So the commercial this week was the Lagos paper towel commercial, and I have to say, by far the least sexist commercial so far. I have to give it to Wanda, you know.
Quite an achievement.
Lagos is notable because that's where Wanda accidentally killed a lot of civilians at the beginning of Civil War. Really, really catastrophic stuff. Do you believe that Lagos paper towels has any significance, or do you think that this is just another stupid product placement?
Well, we didn't get a commercial last time, partly because the episode didn't take place in the Hex, but it does have some significance because that's where she killed all the civilians in Civil War on accident. Who is coming up with these commercials? I don't think it's her.
No, it has to be Wanda, though, because look, think about it, right? Stark Industries.
Somebody who knows her intimately?
Either that or it's her. Because these are all very personal connections to Wanda.
Yep.
All four of them at this point, because Stark, Hydra, Lagos.
Yep.
Those four things hold a very significant place in her life at this point. So, I don't know. I think it could be her. It could, again, someone with very intimate knowledge of Wanda's life. Going back to something we were talking about last week.
Zemo behind the commercials.
Oh my God.
He was affected by Sokovia. He was the villain in Civil War.
Would he do that to his countrywoman, though? Countrywoman? I think that's right.
Probably, since she teamed up with the Avengers.
Fair enough. But it's a good pull. But
yeah, what were we gonna say? It just came to my mind. I had to say it.
That's a good pull. We were talking last week about how people had really in-depth knowledge of this world of the Avengers, and holy shit, they took that to another extreme this week because they were talking about Wanda, like, and she's like, Monica's like, if they didn't rain hellfire down on her, she would have beaten Thanos by herself. What, did they have like someone recording this?
Yeah.
How did this is where I start. That's where I started to get fishy about it. Like, was Peter filming the whole thing? He might have been, knowing what we know from Homecoming.
And how would Monica have known she was dead?
Exactly.
Oh no, she would have been back by then. But
she would have been back, but
there was chaos going on.
She came back, but she wouldn't have realized what was going on because we don't know where that hospital was.
Or actually, no, she would have still been dead. No,
she would have been alive. But
yep. Forgot there were 2 snaps in
like. So okay, this is the thing, Zach. Are you gonna bring like helicopters to film an extraterrestrial fight where there's stuff coming out of the sky?
No, I'm gonna fuck off as far as possible and let it play out.
How do people know this? And she's like,
it's common knowledge.
Darcy brought up Captain Marvel flying through the ship, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, she did.
Like, again, I don't know. I bought into your theory. I don't know how this is common knowledge, but hey, good for them for knowing.
Hey, YouTube. They found it on YouTube. Some great
obviously
video on YouTube. Do you want to talk more about Agnes, or you think we covered it?
I think I covered everything I wanted to say about her. Let's get into the draft.
Hey, I'm going to give you the floor here. It was a good idea, this idea for this draft by you. Basically has nothing to do with WandaVision, but explain it. I was intrigued by the idea, and we said, fuck it, let's do it.
So I was watching Rogue One last night, and Rogue One has Ben Mendelsohn, who was in The Dark Knight Rises. And in The Dark Knight Rises, he plays Daggett in The Dark Knight Rises. And Daggett meets his end by Bane saying, "Do you feel in charge?" And I was wondering, like, if Bane was in Rogue One, he said, "Don't choke on your ambitions, Director Krennic." Like, that would be a funny concept, right? So what I decided to do is we should just draft movies that we would like to see Bane in. We're recasting the roles. So we're going to do 5 movies each, and we're going to be recasting the characters with Bane, right? And I will be straightforward with the audience here. I just am doing this because I want to laugh, okay? And I will be giving you quotes.
I'm down to laugh.
From each... Listen, I'm recasting serious roles, though. But
I've got a mix.
You will appreciate it. So we're going to be doing 5 movies, and we have to do 1 MCU movie. Actually, let's make it 6 picks and 1 MCU movie each. So if you want to add another movie real quick, Zach, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen.
I think I'm good.
I'm going to share the screen.
All right. Coin flip?
Absolutely. I'll flip the coin because you're David Stern here, and I'm the Knicks. Oh, wait. Shit. Okay. I flipped the coin. So call it.
Oh, tails.
All right, let's flip it again. All right, you got tails. You got the first pick. You rat bastard. I can't even say it's rigged this week. What is your first pick in the recasting Bane draft?
My first pick. Zach Griffith selects Iron Man. And I'm recasting Obadiah Stane. Bane replaces Jeff Bridges as Obadiah Stane.
That's incredible.
Tony! You fairly adopted the company.
All right.
I owned it. Molded it.
So I'll do my MCU movie first. And I told you are not going to have seen this coming, okay? And I told you if you picked the pick, I would have just left the podcast. Thankfully, I don't have to leave the podcast. I am replacing Luis in Ant-Man with Bane.
Oh. What?
Imagine the stories in Bane's voice.
What? Wow.
Those stories would be so funny, like especially if he kept the same high-paced voice.
Wow.
You didn't see it coming, did you?
No. Wow.
It's a great poll, isn't it?
Fantastic poll. I didn't see it coming. When you told me small stakes, I was thinking Ant-Man, but I was like, who in Ant-Man? Who?
All right, what's your next pick?
Wow. Step Brothers. I'm recasting Derek, Brennan's older brother.
Oh, so you're recasting Adam Scott?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's a great pull.
Brennan, if you fuck up the wine mixer, I win.
All right.
You're not ready in there. I got a
You're not ready for my next pick. I am replacing Forrest Gump in Forrest Gump with Bane.
What? No.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Oh. No. Oh. All right. I don't even know what to say. My next pick. The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh.
And I am replacing Jonah Hill as Donnie Azoff with Bane.
The loot scene becomes 10 times more legendary.
Oh, she's so hot.
That's a perfect pick.
You showed me a paycheck for $20 million and I quit my job now. Perfect. I was proud of that pick.
All right. I'm taking
3 more picks.
This wasn't high on my board, okay, but I'm taking it because I feel like you will appreciate this pick a whole lot. I am taking from Goodfellas.
Oh.
I am recasting Billy Bats.
That's Bane.
Yes, he doesn't have a very long lifespan.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
I figured you would appreciate it.
I love it. 2 Scorsese movies drafted.
Right back at the back. You could have gone with Tommy there, but
yeah, you could have.
I feel like
this one's better. Little
Billy
heat
Bats.
Check. Little heat check, my man. My next one. Back to the Future.
Oh no!
I'm recasting Biff with Bane.
This is the best one. This was the best idea I've ever had.
Oh, McFly. Just an excuse to do the Bane voice for like 10 minutes. That's all.
Exactly. All right. You ready for another Scorsese movie?
Yes.
I don't even know this character's name, but Mark Wahlberg in The Departed.
Oh, Dignum.
That's right. Are you a fucking cop?
And shooting David at the end. It's perfect.
Of course.
Perfect. Another heat check.
I could have gone with I was thinking about going with Martin Sheen, but
oh yeah,
I didn't think that was very realistic.
All right, I got 2 picks left. My next one, it's too obvious. But I'm doing it anyway. Air Force One. I am replacing Gary Oldman with Bane. And why? So we can hear this. Crashing this plane.
Oh man, I have so many good options left on my draft board. My next pick. I am going with The Big Lebowski.
Oh,
and
the dude, are you?
I was going to do the dude, but then I realized
Walter.
Who would be better for Bane than Walter fucking Sobchak? Shabbos, dude.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie. That's a good one. That's good.
Walter is perfect. I don't know why I had the dude on there. I was just going through my favorite movies, and then I realized Walter is literally perfect for Bane.
With my last pick.
Wait, hold on. Am I the only one around here who gives a fuck about the rules?
That's it. That's pretty spot on right there. Even the physique matches up.
that was the best John Goodman would ever look for the rest of his life. I have to say.
Yeah. And my final pick, Alex. The Godfather Part 2. I am recasting young Vito Corleone with Bane.
So you're going to make Bane learn Italian too?
Yes. Yes. You don't tell me you don't want to hear that.
I do want to hear it, but I want to hear your... Okay, this is what I want to hear then. I want to hear your attempt to speak Italian in the Bane voice. It's what I want to hear.
I can't. I don't know any Italian, which is a shame. Because I'm like 40% Italian, but I don't know any. I can't do it.
The 40% of your family that's Italian is a shame to you.
They just disown me. They just shut off the show.
So, okay, I have a lot of candidates that I have.
Your final pick, a lot of pressure.
I'll go through my honorable mentions, okay? We were talking about Pixar movies before the show, and I thought of WALL-E in the Bane voice. But then it's pretty one note. All he's saying is, WALL-E. So, I decided to go against that one. Darth Vader was kind of obvious, but, that was from The Empire Strikes Back.
Already an iconic voice.
Luke, I am your father. Something to that effect. Red from Shawshank Redemption, only for the only for the purpose of Andy crawling through 500 yards of shit-smelling foulness. that part. And then I think and I also had the Don Corleone from The Godfather. Look at how they massacred my boy.
That's good.
But my pick, because I need some lighthearted movies on here. I'm going with Talladega Nights. I am recasting. Actually, I'm recasting. What's the guy? Sacha Baron Cohen's role.
Oh, bringing Bane into it as John Gerard.
Say you like grapes. We invented jazz, existentialism, and the 69. Something to that effect, but...
Well, him breaking his arm makes a lot more sense now.
You have made a mockery of me, Ricky Bobby. This is the thing, though, about Talladega Nights. He has to keep saying Ricky Bobby. He can't say Ricky Bobby. You have made a mockery of me, Ricky Bobby.
I'm glad you came up with this draft. This was good.
This was one of the most fun podcasts I've done in a while. Just that was really stupid, but it was also really worth it.
Totally worth it. And Alex, it's time to plug.
Yeah, go check out the Alex and Dylan Basketball Power Hour. Last week we did the Pacers. Zach Griffith made an official statement that appeared on the podcast.
I did.
We did the Rockets and we did the Pistons. This week we're doing the Bulls, the 76ers, and the Lakers. So if you like those teams, go check us out. I also did a podcast doing trades that Caleb Lynn and I would like to see. So go check that out. That was a lot of fun. I proposed blowing up the Rockets in the same week that I gave them a lot of praise. So, you never know what you're going to get from me.
Up and down week for the Rockets.
I'm at least in the Alex Burr headcanon. It's been an up and down week. Go check out Triple Option Pass. At some point this month is going to come out with a shoulda, coulda, woulda. We haven't determined the team yet, but the shoulda, coulda, wouldas are always very, very well done because they research so much. This has stuck with me for several months now, Zach. Did you know that at one point in the 2007 season, the Kansas Jayhawks were ranked number 2 in the nation?
Football?
Yes.
No. What the fuck? No.
I made a contribution on that podcast because I texted in our little group chat. I was like, Kansas?
Who the hell was on that team?
I don't even know, but that was about 2007 West Virginia.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one. That was a good episode.
It was a good episode, but I learned that Kansas, that fact has stuck with me in my head. They recorded that episode probably in like September. And I still think about it. Let's see. Team. I don't know who was on this team, but yeah. Triple Option Pass, they'll be great. Battleground. So Linsanity will be back next week. We're recapping the Super Bowl, and then they'll be pivoting to college football. Zach, Battleground and Cinema, what do we got there?
Battleground, we might be back this week. I'm going to float it by the guys to see if they want to do one this week, just for the Super Bowl and stuff. Cinema, I've got my X-Men monologue out right now. Go check that out. That was a lot of fun to do. And then X2, I'll be doing a monologue on X2 hopefully this week. And then, that's really all I got. Oh, we'll be starting a Fast and Furious series, getting fans ready leading up to the release of F9. Devin Voss, JD Hall, and Bryce Shaddy will all be featured on that. So check that out. Hopefully that will be released, at least the first episode, by the end of the month. So yes.
Fingers crossed. Zach, thank you so much for having me on. The Bane draft was incredible. If you ain't first, you're last.
And as always, folks, thanks for listening.